Hey everyone, and welcome to the PHILLIP Show. Grab your coffee. Mm, it's going to be a great day. Today, a lot of people are starting businesses. A lot of people are thinking outside of the box, and a lot of people are starting younger. It's not just the young people. It's not just the millennials. It's not just people on TikTok and all over the place. People are starting actual businesses, going places, doing things, meeting people, and building community as well as families. How do you get started? Why do you get started? And how do you position your family for success and look to the future to say, I want to build a legacy. I want to leave something for my children and encourage my children to see what the entrepreneur life looks like and what's it all about. So today we have Dara Moore on the show, and she's going to tell us about Trey's Lemonade Stand. Dara.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hey, I am so glad that that you took some time out to join us today. How's everything going? How are you?
Everything is good. I'm still recuperating from, previous. We just did an event this weekend, so still recuperating, but doing well. Thank
Wow,
you.
events. It's like, COVID happened, and I'm so excited that you kind of led with that because
Yes.
we're going to talk a little bit about what it means for you to do an event and what all of that is. COVID is just still doing its COVID thing, but not as much as it used to. But there for
Right.
a while, we couldn't be in person for a very long time. So
Absolutely.
going to events and being a part of events and facilitating what you do at events, is that, I know, let's dive into that in a second. But you have a brand called Trey's Lemonade Stand. And before we get to that, I just want to get a little bit of background. Where are you from? Where did the entrepreneur bug come from? And then let's start with what you decided to do.
So, again, I'm Dara Moore. I was born and raised here in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Um, I went off to school, but still came back to my roots here in Ohio. And I would say that my entrepreneurial bug came from my family. I have a lot of family members who are entrepreneurs, whether they were beauticians, barbers. We had some who started, like my grandfather started his own donut shop.
Oh,
Um, and it's always been ingrained in me with my family. And so it just so happens Trey's Lemonade Stand is named after my 10-year-old son. The
okay.
whole concept, the whole theory, everything came from my son. And kind of how it evolved was he stated to me, this was right around when COVID happened in 2020. Mom, I want to work. And
Wow.
I said,
Wait a
what?
minute. Now
You
that's
want to
different.
work? And
Yeah.
it's kind of like a blessing because I'm a very hard worker. I'm a full-time, single mom, and he sees me work. He sees me go to work Monday through Friday. He sees me grind. He sees me hustle for him. And he realizes the concept of working means money. And that's the
Mm,
only way you can have the quality of life that you want. And so he told me at 8, I want to work. And I'm like, well, you can't work. And I
okay.
try to break down. I'm naturally, professionally, I'm in HR, and so I'm trying to break down child labor laws.
I was gonna
I'm being
say that because
yeah, I'm being too specific for him, and he's just like, but I want to work. So he's a big YouTuber, and he's seeing kids on there who's doing lemonade stands, like you stated, doing their own entrepreneurial, lifestyles. And he's like, I want to do it too. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to do a lemonade stand. And I
Oh.
said, okay, we can do a lemonade
So
stand.
he came up with the concept of
He,
saying, you know what, I've seen this and I think I can do that. It's a lemonade
absolutely,
stand.
absolutely.
Wow.
So how it kind of evolved we live on a very isolated, street. So most kids do it on the corner of their driveway or on the corner of their street.
Hmm.
We don't get any traffic. And the last thing that I wanted to do was discourage him by doing one and then not be successful. So I kind of
Mm.
did my research during the COVID, the first year in 2020.
Yep.
Realized that most kids are successful when they do farmers markets. So that's how we got our start. Is we started at a local farmers market right around the corner from our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have with this young boy, right? This young man, watching all of these entrepreneurs, including, watching you work. With as hard as you work, you're talking about being a single mom
Hmm.
and, doing HR and grinding. And then all of
Hmm.
a sudden, it's exciting that your son wants to work, but
Hmm.
some of the difficulties that actually come with work. Were
Yeah.
you apprehensive at all when he said, I want to work?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. And I didn't want to discourage him because I think some parents would be like, no, you're too young. You're not responsible enough. You know, of course, with any business, you have to do math. He's still learning, you know.
Aren't we
And
all?
so, yeah. And so some parents might have been like, maybe you need to wait a year or two. He just had that bug and I just didn't want to dim his light. So I was just like, let me do what I can do to invest into you. And that's wholeheartedly what I did. I did the research. I reached out to the local farmers market. I got us enrolled. I paid the fees. Kind of got like went and invested into the materials that were needed. And that's how Trey's Lemonade Stand started.
So you're doing kind of like all the back leg work. Where is Trey when you're doing all this? Is he just like the face of the company, or what part does he play or learn while you're helping him build his business?
So I will say that Trey, anything that you see incorporated with Trey's Lemonade Stand is his thoughts.
Oh.
It's all his ideas, from the logo to the setup of the tent, to the ideas with the flavors, to even the technology pieces. He was the one, like this year we incorporated having the Square app, the Bump. He researched that. He found that. Again, he's 10 now. He's still a kid, so he still wants to have fun, and I have to hone in on that and remember that as well. So we do a lot of the work, but he's right there every step of the way. He helps make the product. He helps with the shopping, so he helps quite a bit.
So when you say that he still wants to be a kid, which I love the fact that you kind of err to the side of, and I understand that, you know, it's like he's still a child.
Yes.
We get it. And he still has a lot of growing to do and a lot of experiences to have as a 10-year-old, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you set the boundaries for him? Because let me tell you what, I have people set boundaries for me as an adult because I can work. And they're like, Phillip, close your computer. Phillip, no, you need some time for you. And I know you would have to do that for yourself as well. How do you set those boundaries and make him understand that it's not a punishment for me to pull you away from working or to set those boundaries for you? It's a process that he'll need to go through. How do you do that?
So he didn't understand, like last year, he was there at every event and it was tiresome. You know, summer caught up with us because again, this is just a seasonal business. And so summer caught up with us. He started school and then it was over. And then we were in winter months. And when we went into this season, I had to really set a true calendar and give him time with his father, give him time with his other side of his family, give him time just to be a kid.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to sit him down and just let him know, like, you know, we were real big on calendars. So we have a calendar on his bedroom door. We have a calendar in the kitchen. So he can see this is what we have coming up, but you're going to miss this event. You're going to miss that event. Because
do you work with him when he knows that there's going to be an event and his business is being decided to come before that? Does he say, no, I don't want to miss that event? Or do you just say, in order to get to this destination, we're going to have to miss these events? And then he just says, okay.
He absolutely wants to still do it 100%, because he knows that it's Trey's Lemonade Stand. And just to give you an example, we did an event. We did the Dayton Pride event back in July, and he was gone to a family reunion. And he was completely devastated because we ended up being on the news. And he was just like, but I was supposed to be there. I'm Trey. I said, but honey, you have to understand.
I'm Trey. Look, I'm the face of this thing. How y'all gonna be on the news without Trey?
I said, you have to understand, you have other family, you have life to live outside of Trey's Lemonade. So he kind of gets it now, which it's still pulling teeth because he also understands that with the business and how this all started, he wanted a PlayStation 5.
Oh, so he had a goal.
He had a goal.
Business too,
and
because
I absolutely positively refused to buy him a PlayStation 5. That's where he said, I want to work so I can buy it myself. I said, sure, let's do the lemonade stand. And so he's been successful. He's bought that. But this is also his play money. When he gets money, he can go to the store. He has like one of the green light children's credit cards. So he knows that money's loaded onto there. And if he doesn't do the lemonade stand, he doesn't get any business. He doesn't get any money. So that's another thing that drives him is I want to work because I want to have my own. So
One of the things that may escape people, so for everybody out there in the audience, one thing that may escape you is the size of the production that we're talking about. So when Dara is talking about going to events, they have an entire production of a tent. I ain't gonna say a booth. It's a whole tent. And you have people that are there to support you. So it's not just little carts you push down the road and be like, hey, we might have ice. Here's this. There is an entire production around Trey's lemonade stand. How did it become such an ordeal? And it looks like you have a lot of help because he can't do all that by himself. You
Absolutely.
can't do all that by yourself. It's a production. So how do you pull and all of these flavors? And side note, they're so good. So how are we pulling all of this off?
So I would say that this is, even though it is Trey's business, it is a family-owned business. Okay. I have tons of support from my parents, both my mom and dad. They're involved in the business as well as my brother. Mm-hmm. We the four of us have always been very, 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 very close, and we always aspire to have our own immediate family business. So this is kind of evolved from Trey. So yay, we pay homage to Trey. Yeah. So how it all, I mean, it's time consuming. It's a labor of love, honestly. But we do it as a family. We do it cohesively, and we do it primarily because this was a goal that Trey set out. It's become successful, and we want to keep him encouraged by continuing it. And so it's a week-long process. Even when I end this, we're prepping for this coming week that we're going to put a plug out there. We will be at the Yellow Springs 2022 Touch a Truck. And we're so excited. We were there last year, so we're excited to be there again this week. So we're already preparing for that. And as I just stated, we just completed an event on Saturday, and that was an all-day event. So it's hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would, because I just wanted everybody to understand the
kind of get a visual.
Because when you hear Trey's lemonade stand, it sounds so cute. It sounds so small. It's like, oh, little cardboard sign with a little stand and a little guy with a little picture. It's like, oh, no. No.
Yeah, it's a full-blown, it's a full-blown 10 by 10 tent. Mm-hmm. We have 3 tables where we have the wash station for the purposes of washing utensils, because we're very conscientious of, sanitary purposes. We have 4 dispensers that'll have 4 flavor lemonades, always typically original, strawberry, pineapple, and watermelon. Mm-hmm. They're produced and placed in cups where we provide ice. Wow. Of course, we provide straws. We also have gimmicks as far as where we, last year we had frosted mugs. This year we have color changing tumblers. So it is like a it is a full blown production with it. It is not just a table with, handwritten signs, lemonade, 5 cents. It's not,
Well, it's very impressive, number one, at any age, but to know, absolutely. And to know that Trey has such an integral part in selecting and saying and has a voice, and he's just not the face. And it's like, there's this family and they're using their son to build this, it's not that. And I love it. What, if any, what pushback have you received from him being so young by either family or other people?
I will say with this year, because we didn't expect it to expand as big as it did. Mm-hmm. Last year, like I said, we just wanted to start out doing just the farmers markets twice a month, and that was it. And then we kind of expanded and started doing festivals. And just like last year, we did the Touch a Truck event. And then we even expanded into we did a wedding, we did a bridal shower. This year we've done professional development for schools. We've done retreats for organizations. So we've kind of really evolved, and it's kind of taken on more. It is a full-blown business. And there are moments when he's tired. It's just like, okay, I'm pushing. And I have to remember he's 10. And that's why I kind of made those boundaries in regards to, you're not going to do this week, or, you're going to go spend time with your other family so you can take a break. So
wow. I love the fact that there are boundaries and that you're aware of it. Where do you find the strength to keep, because you have a full-time job?
I do.
So there's that. So where do you find the strength to say, "Ooh, Come on, lemonade stand.
Yeah. I don't even know. I'll tell people, I'm going to say, because people will say, when do you rest? When do you sleep? I'm going to say that I'm a vampire. I
Yep.
joke all the time like I'm a vampire because I don't sleep. It is a full blown business. So you're always thinking
Yeah.
either of your next event or the previous event. What could be better? How can we improve it? You're thinking about maybe even next year as far as expansion and things of that nature. So it never stops. So I'm going to just say I get my strength and endurance from the good Lord above because I don't know where else it comes from.
Yeah, right. Because you're busy. You know,
Yes,
you're
always
booked.
busy.
You're booked and busy.
Booked and busy.
You're
That's
booked
right.
and busy. What do you hope happens with Trey's Lemonade Stand? I know that it's his brainchild, and
Yeah.
it's flourished into a family business.
Mm-hmm.
As you continue to move forward and as he continues to grow, different interests may come up. Where do you see the brand going, or where would you hope it would go?
Ideally,
Hmm.
a lot of people have said that the product needs to be in store. So ideally, that would be hopefully the next thing. We have a couple of local groceries here that ideally would like to place it there.
Hmm.
But that's on a whole nother grand scheme of things. And like I said, I work full time. I like my job. So it's kind of hard to just break away from my job and just do this full time. So
Yeah.
ideally, next, we would love to see it on a shelf. And then a lot of people have even stated that we need to have a brick and mortar. So
Mm.
those are kind of things that we kind of have in our minds, mindset as far as how to move forward, what we want to move forward with. And so there'll be a lot of brainstorming this winter, and I'm eager to see where that takes us for next year because we expanded more this year in comparison to last year. So we're looking forward to next year as well.
Because the winter is more so the off season for, say, festivals or lemonade.
Correct. Now, if we were in Florida, it'd be a different story, but
Oh my.
we're in Ohio, we're in the Midwest, so that's just
Yeah,
not gonna
Florida definitely a whole
happen.
nother beast. Why were you so intentional about making this a complete family business? In today's day and age, it seems as though there are entrepreneurs that flourish, but a lot of times it's not a family that's doing it, or they don't pull that with them. You'll have a team, a marketing team, or a operations team that you work with, but sometimes people shy away from family. Why was it important to you to say, hey, this is going to be a family thing?
Well, absolutely. Like I stated earlier, my core group, anybody that you'll see at a festival with a shirt on is either my mom, my dad, or my brother, outside of Trey or myself. And so we're very, very, very close knit. And there's nobody else I would trust with my son and his business than them. And so definitely wholeheartedly when I'm thinking of events and it's going to be a long day or it's going to be, a lot of product that needs to be made. There's nobody else I would entrust more with it, with money, with anything that I've invested into my son than them. So of course I would want them to be a part of it. Because I like you said earlier, I can't do this by myself.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
ever look at Trey and nowadays and say, what was I doing at 10?
Yeah.
Where,
I said I need to get my life because I was not doing this at 10 years
well,
old.
what was I even doing with my life?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it seems like it's such and I'm thinking about, I was like, well, where did I go? How come I didn't have a.
Yeah, how come I just didn't? Yeah, because I mean, again, I got this from my parents, then I instilled it in him. So it's just like, why wasn't I just as I don't know, I don't know. Why wasn't I so pushy with doing it? Why wasn't I just so aggressive as he was? I don't know.
Do you think that you mentioned that he watches YouTube, and do you think access to a lot of social media, and this is kind of veering off but still staying in the same vein, do you think access to a lot of social media and people, younger people, really stepping out there visibly and with platforms that are his age and some younger, of course, a little bit older. But do you think that has a lot to do with some of the choices that they're making now because they see people like them doing things?
Yes. I will say that was a part of it, but I think this is really just in him. And just seeing that there's somebody else like-minded as himself, or in his mind, maybe even better. He felt like he could just definitely do it. And I mean, me as his mother, I'm going to encourage him, especially if it's something positive. But I'm not going to lie. He was a fan. He no longer is because I guess he has his own business, so he doesn't care. But he was a fan of Ryan's World, which
Oh, okay.
He's a billionaire. I think he's a billionaire now. And so we used to always joke about, Ryan, it's just like he opens toys from Walmart and does a video on YouTube and he got paid.
Yeah.
So this is like, we can do something like that. So I think maybe him hearing that and knowing like, hey, I can do it better has pushed him as well.
Have you been kind of bitten by the, ooh, if I can do this, then maybe...
Yeah.
You got like little things back in the back burner, like, oh.
That's why I said I'm eager to see where next year goes. He definitely he wants his own YouTube station or channel. I'm foreign to all of that. So he wants his own YouTube channel. And he even part of this year he went and bought a GoPro. So be on the lookout. I might have to, solicit you for some services or something. But
good for him.
He bought a GoPro because he's serious. And again, it was with his money. So I just said, you go for it.
What does he have? Do you put him on an allowance? How does it work when he's making money and the business is making money and he wants things? How do you ration that? Because I know that there may be some parents out there who are like, that's great, but how do I give him an allowance? Do I pay him from the business? How does that work for you?
It just depends on how the event is. If there is a vendor fee, because that, of course, was an investment up front that may have either come from a previous event or may have come out of my pocket. I don't know. Then, of course, it's money that has to go into making the product, purchasing the product. There's a kitchen that we utilize, so paying the fees for the kitchen, different things to that degree. Those have to be subtracted. But once all that's subtracted, of course, he also gets all tip money. Nobody else gets the tip money but him.
Wow.
So tip money is his. And then there is always a percentage that I give him. So it's anywhere between 10 to 15% of what's left over. That is his money.
Wow. Now, do you have any sort of like investment? I'm very curious. I'm over here taking notes.
So yes, traditionally what I did prior to us starting the Trey's Lemonade Stand brand is I would collect change all throughout the year, and then I would change it and put it into either his savings account or bond. And so that is what we're doing also with the business. So it is steadily an investment. I also have a 529C for Trey. And so money is also invested into the 529C. So once he gets to 18, he can do as he pleases. He can pay for school. He can establish his life at 18. So definitely invested in my baby.
Yeah. But it's so interesting because as we go through the components of the how, it's really kind of a master class of what to do when you have an idea, how to put it together, how to either stay motivated or follow someone's motivation, and what to do to set yourself up for success to be able to maintain the vision. If people are taking notes, it's like really a roadmap to the success that you're having now. So people out there, you need to get your pen and paper, rewind that. And just like really, this is literally like a course in how to.
Yeah, we were actually not contacted. We were actually approached at one of our lemonade stands because I don't know if you're familiar. There is a National Lemonade Day stand, Lemonade Stand Day.
Oh, no,
it's typically last year was the last Saturday of July. This year it was around the last Saturday of June. Unfortunately, I had enrolled Trey and everything in it last year because I was excited. We had started expanding our business and kind of upgraded some materials, and we were excited about participating. And he was eliminated 3 days before the competition because he was outside of the necessary zip code. So unfortunately, they don't really target inner city children. And so somebody had approached us at one of our lemonade stands and had indicated that really that kind of hinders and deters inner city students or children from participating or even like looking into entrepreneurship. So they said, have you ever thought about hosting maybe your own or maybe some form of a class? And so that is something else that we are wrestling with because everybody should have this opportunity. There's enough opportunities out there for people to go out there and do with their kids or their children to start their own business. I mean, there's money to be made out there, so everybody should be able to do it.
Well, it's such an inspiration. Go ahead.
Yeah. I said, so you never know, you might see that in the future too. So
Hey, well, I mean, it's nothing for you. You know, the interesting thing and the awesome thing about it is, you know, when it comes to classes and things, it's your experience. You
Hmm.
know, so even like I said, just what you've been saying here is a class in and of itself.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank
so
you.
it's just in conversation because you're doing it. Those are the
Mhm.
best classes to facilitate, the ones that you do day in and day out, and it's just explaining what you do.
Right.
You know, just because a lot of people, number one, either are not exposed, well, number one, two through 100, generally they're not exposed to that kind of
Right.
information, or they're not exposed to somebody who actually is doing it.
Right. That's true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I look forward to however that comes about. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for it. And you mentioned something before, because I know we're going to have to go in a minute, but you mentioned something that I'm very curious about.
Hmm.
You mentioned the zip code and inner city challenges when it comes to access. Have
Hmm.
you found that along your road? And I don't mean to switch it to a racial gear, but
Hmm.
have you found any barriers to either age or race when it comes to trying to push his brand forward?
Yes, actually, we have because some people stay in their comfort zone and just stay in their area.
Hmm.
We easily could have done that. I mean, I live in Trotwood, Ohio. It's relatively close to Dayton. I could just stay in this area if I wanted to. But as you're aware, because of course, Philip, we've been to Yellow Springs several times. We love Yellow Springs, by the way. I mean,
Yes,
anytime
thank
I live
you.
in
We
Yellow
love
Springs,
you. Yes.
thank you. So, we've been to Yellow Springs. We've been to Bellbrook. We've been south of town. I'm trying to even think. We've been towards Centerville. We've been all over, and we've tried to expand into other counties.
Hmm.
We've tried to expand into certain other areas, different zip codes that may already have maybe another similar establishment and have been disregarded just
Yeah.
primarily as soon as they, not trying to be funny, but as soon as they go on Facebook and look at the Facebook page, it's kind of like as soon as they see the face,
Yeah.
it's like a no. Like
Mm.
for whatever reason, we're declined for the event when you originally were interested. And it's just like
Mm.
when you find out maybe where we've come or maybe what we look like, no, we'll pass this year, maybe next year. And it's just like, okay, do we
Yeah.
know? You know?
Are
So
these when you find that out, or and this may be too in depth for a learning process? Do
mhm.
you have those conversations with Trey about business access, um, and those roads or obstacles that may be facing him?
Yes, and I love that my child is semi-naive to a lot of stuff
Mm.
because it does make the conversations a little bit more softer and easier to have.
Mm.
He's a little confused by it
Mm.
because he doesn't see race, he doesn't see gender. He doesn't see, he just sees people.
Yeah.
So sometimes he's very sensitive, so it does hurt his feelings when he doesn't understand why we're being denied or why we can't go to this or that. But he's slowly understanding, especially as he's getting older and becoming more mature, that this is just life.
Mm.
I watch the news all the time. So he sees the news and he asks me questions. Well, why are they doing this and why are they doing that? And of course, we're a religious family. So I just explain sometimes you don't have an answer. You just have to pray about it. And so
Mm.
he gets that. And that's what's most important to me.
That is wonderful. I love it. Let us all be a little bit more naive.
Yes, yes. I wish
Yes.
life would be so much easier. But I love that about him, that he's 10 years old and so naive to so many things. I'm just like, so glad I don't have to go over there.
Uh, that is wonderful. Well, Dara, thank you so much for sharing your journey,
Yeah,
your inspiration. It's very
thank
inspiring to see
you.
how it's growing, what you're doing intentionally, teaching
Thank
and uplifting your son and encouraging him to follow his dreams and his passions. If you could
you.
give somebody one word who may be kind of toying with, I don't know if I should kind of step out of the boat and walk, or I don't know if this is the right direction for me, what would you tell them?
I can't think of just one word to say, but the only thing that I can say is be like Nike and just do it. And when
Just,
you do it, just be intentional. Whatever's
wow.
on your heart, do it. I mean, you will never know if it's going to be successful unless you try. And I mean, me and my family say it every time we finish an event, every time we debrief after an event, we would have never thought that this would have grown to the level that it's at in the demand, because a lot of places ask us to come. And so, you know, that in itself is a blessing. So, I mean, we would have never thought it would have grown this big, and we wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have just stepped out listening to my then 8-year-old son saying, I want to do a lemonade stand. So just do it and be intentional with it.
Just do it and be intentional. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. You can find Dara Moore and Trey's Lemonade Stand on Facebook. The information has been shared, and there's no better way to think about what you're going to do in the future with the things that you're toying with in your mind. Can you do it? What is going to happen? She said it best. Just do it. So thank you for joining us today. Remember, you are the best you in the world. We will see you next time here on The PHILLIP Show. Don't wait.